from the Zoom to the YouTube intersection. And everybody is at the right point. And I see everybody, and that's perfect. Okay, great. Content is being sent. I'm going to do my, I'll also do Loom. See when it comes up. Loom is another recorder. I'm not going to use my camera for Loom, and then I'll turn my camera off and I start recording, and it will be recording. I'm using the EDU version since I'm in education, and it allows me to have unlimited. Another way to store on Loom's cloud device. Okay, so I am doing all that I need, and then I need on my own premise, I need to close. Hopefully it will. Okay. And it's not responding, so I'm going to end the task. Okay. So Daniel, you want to be so kind and be on moderation here?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, moderate. Anyone else want to join Daniel and volunteer for class participation to just monitor the chats? Any volunteers?
I can do it.
Thank you, Sophia. Excellent. So Sophia, if you can just moderate, and of course, as we talked about before, anything that I need to know about or to clarify, I'll continue with that. Okay, any questions before we begin? Put that in the chat, or you can unmic yourself. What I want to do today is talk about data. I'll give you an overview of what we mean about algorithms and data, and we'll look at our assignment from before. Okay, so let me start. I'll start sharing my screen. I'm in sharing my screen with Zoom, the academic version of Zoom. And if you look here, let me just even do this part, is on this week in Fort Lauderdale, there's the IT Expo. And the IT Expo, if you look, is I'm moderating and speaking at the IT Expo. And any of you that I'm doing it on Wednesday, the 14th. And they have a special section on Gen AI. Any of you that are interested on going to visit any of the expos, or you can be my guest and just send me a note and I will get you a pass to this event. This event runs from the 13th through the 15th in Fort Lauderdale. One of the things that they'll be discussing, is you see here, is enterprise generative AI, the enterprise metaverse, basically IoT, Internet of Things evolution, the future of work, and a smart city. So I've been working with this group for a long time, and they've asked me to do that. Since they asked me to do that, I will be recording my sessions in Fort Lauderdale, and hopefully, if it works, I'll be uploading it to you as well. Since it's on February 14th, I'm giving you February 14th, Sophia, and you can put this note for everyone, is we'll use February 14th, our regular class time, as a time, as I call it, lab day. You can meet with your group to improve any of your work, Sophia. Did you hear that? So we can do that, and maybe even Dylan, if you can put that maybe under announcements, that we're not going to be doing then formal class this Wednesday, Valentine's Day. Sophia, did you know it was Valentine's Day, Sophia?
I did.
Good. So on Valentine's Day, we'll be doing, we'll meet with our groups as well. So you see that part. Let me just go to the other part. You see here that we're streaming live, that we can see here. We have the power of the U. And if we go to H1 audit, we have a couple of things. Everybody go to H1 audit. Taylor, are you there? Right here, I have a link that says herbert.miami.edu VLab. The V stands for virtual lab. And last time, what we've done is our IT folks created for us a remote desktop that resides, what we call in the cloud, but resides on another computer that has a Windows interface. And how they've created is they've taken all our usernames from the university and gave us permission to use this cloud. Last time we tried it, it didn't work correctly. So the first thing I want to make sure, Taylor, is that if you can open this link in a new tab or in a new window, everybody do that. Sophia, did you understand what I said? And you should see something that says student VI. It should say MHBS from Miami Herbert Business School, Azure, which is the name of Microsoft's cloud services, and their virtual desktop interface. So I'd like everyone to click on it, and let's see if it's going to work. Taylor, did it work for you?
I'm getting there.
Good. So this way, Dylan, we can make sure that this section, you remember when they forgot to enter everybody's usernames, and they did the exact same mistake last time, is that we make sure they have it. Now this is, we're going to go to the remote desktop, but we'll be able to use our own local resources. So what does that mean, Daniel? We're going to access our own local resources.
Well, if you want to be able to copy paste things from the remote desktop and then back,
Yeah.
you could do it by allowing the clipboard. If you want
Right.
to, put files or use the
Right,
printer.
in the printer, I say allow everything. And now I say allow. And now it's trying to connect and launch, and it wants my credentials. My credentials, the same credentials, right, Daniel, as you use for Blackboard?
Yes.
It's your exact same credentials for what you use for Blackboard. So I use my s.rushenik@miami.edu and my password. And it should see now, notice it says Rushenik applying user settings, applying the group, preparing windows. And I may have a different screen than you because I've had this space before with my credentials, and I've saved a lot of Excel spreadsheets. But there's two right here, icons of what we call Ninja Trader 8, which is a trading platform that runs, when you download it, it runs on Windows. So, Fabio, what does it say on your screen?
You ask that again, please?
What is it? What do you have on your screen? Did you click on that link?
No, I didn't get the link.
Right. So where is that link?
I don't know.
It's in, go to the audit area,
Uh-huh.
right there under announcements.
Okay.
And Ashton, did you get that?
Yes, I did. I'm like looking at a similar screen that you're looking at.
Okay, great. And so Ashton, we'll talk at the end, okay?
Okay, thank you.
So anyways, here we see, Ashton, you see here where it says 64-bit, and it doesn't have this, where it doesn't have anything, that means it's 32-bit. Remember we talked about bits, that there were 8 bits to a character, right? So the whole idea, we were saying that the larger the RAM we have, the larger, basically, the more bits there, it's going to be faster and more comprehensive. So for our work, Ashton, we're going to be using 64-bit. And in the 64-bit, we want to make sure that we have this available. So Fabio, did you find that link?
Yeah.
Okay, and what do you see on your screen?
See a similar thing that you had on your screen.
Okay, how many spreadsheets do you have on yours?
Let me see it again. 5.
Okay, so basically you can see that this is where, Fabio, this, when we're going to do some of our other exercises, if you don't have access to the Windows operating system, you can use a remote desktop.
Okay.
Okay, and I just want to make sure that everyone here, so put in the chat there if you had any issues. Okay, Dylan Lee, did you have any problem?
All good over here.
Okay, good. All right. So in order for me right now, I'm on a Windows desktop. Do you see that, Daniel? I'm on a Windows desktop. So I'm in Windows too. So I have like 2 windows, but if I have this little flag here and I click on start, you see that?
Yes.
Have you ever used Step Recorder, Dylan? Daniel?
No.
In Windows, this may be interesting also for you, Dylan Melnick, is in Windows, there's something called Problem Step Recorder or Steps Recorder. You can type, even in the search, you can type in Steps Recorder. And what Steps Recorder is, it's a Windows program. You remember how we're talking about recording as a video? This records as a zip file, and you can start recording and it will capture screens. And this way, Daniel, you could put the screen. So for instance, you wanted to show somebody, well, when you go here, if you press here under power, right, and if somebody presses this button of power, they can see a disconnect button. So if you want to end
What does it
the
end up looking
session,
like?
what?
What does the recording look like?
The recording, let me just stop. Okay. Stop recording. this is what the recording looks like. So if I look at review recorded steps, it does step 1. You see here? It records then your screenshots. Rather than pressing screenshots each time and copying it, it records it to a file, and you could put it into something like Word and edit it. You could get rid of a screen. So this records, this is kind of interesting. It records as like a screen capture, like you would do print screen all the time.
This would be useful if people had issues.
Yes. Exactly, Daniel. That's why I'm showing it to you.
Yeah.
It only runs on Windows, not on the Mac, but it's interesting. But do we have access to it? Sure do. So when they get stuck, right? And then you see under the, and by default, you see here where it has the question mark, by default, you see about the step recorder, it'll say that this is running, right now I'm running on Windows 10, but as I go to this, if I go to settings, you see here, I can choose a file to output, or it will output, or when I file save, I can output it. And you see here, number of recent screen captures to store. It by default does 725, but it can go up to 999. So I could go through, even if I did like a ninja trading exercise, Daniel,
Yeah.
you could record it and then take out screens that weren't relevant. A lot of times it's repetitive, but you have it all, so you don't have to do print screen each time.
That makes sense.
And then you could go in, and if you recorded it, you'd have your voice, but you could also put in text into a Word file. Pretty interesting. You know, it's another tool in the toolkit.
I have a quick question about
Yes.
that. Is that just recording the window page,
Yeah.
or will it, okay, so it's not your whole computer?
Well,
It's
it's
just taking
recording my, so
screenshots
if
of-
I looked at it, right, so if I do, and if you look here, right, under settings, perfect. Under settings, you see here, enable screen capture, yes and no, and the number, right? And I'm doing, and you could even browse for the output. So you can see in this case, if I make this larger, see, it was just my screen, exactly what I had. And right now I just had 3 screens, right? And what's nice about it, if you wanted it for auditing purposes, Dylan Melnick, you see how it gives you the date and time? So you can almost be like an auditor, where you could put, and then later on you could combine that with AI and so forth, you know, that it would start being intelligent where it did it. And it tries to figure out what happened. User left click on close button and start. So it's trying to be intelligent to try to figure out what you press, what screens that you press. Because when you print screen, it doesn't tell you what screens. And here, user left click on the power list item in start. And then you can save it, right? And in this case, it basically, you can save it in your OneDrive. And what I like to do, if you see it, I like to give it a date. So now it's 2/12, right? 2024. I'll even give it, it's Monday at, let's say it's at 4 p.m. And we did virtual desktop using step recorder, steps recorder, and I could give my name. And I notice in this case, it compresses the file, makes it a zip file. So this may be a nice way. I'm just giving you additional tools. Do you see that? Additional tools. You see that, Melnick? It's additional tools. And especially, it's cumbersome for people once they're in the remote section. What am I supposed to do? If they're in the lab even, they can use Steps Recorder in the lab because it's a Windows machine too, right? that you're able to do. And it's called, you see right here, it's called Steps Recorder, and you can make a new recording if you want. Right there, or not. So you can just go back, right, of the remote desktop, and I can go back to my remote desktop where I was before and do the same thing. And notice I'm still in the desktop. I could go, if I wanted to stop, I could then just go to power and I see disconnect. I'm disconnecting from where? I'm disconnecting from that virtual desktop interface. And you do that too. Click on this little Windows key here, go to power, and you see here disconnect. You can go to your documents. And by the way, you have Excel on Windows, you have Outlook, you have PowerPoint, you have Word. This is they've already stored. You see here that they give you Microsoft Edge and disconnect. And now I go back. Questions? Put in the chat if you could not get this part. If not, then we want to see it, and do I have control of everybody's user IDs to put into the system? No. So I need to go to those folks that are required to put in everybody's user's credentials. So that is what we're going to be doing in the future, is using a program called NinjaTrader. Those of you that have Windows or access to Windows, you can go to a program called ninjatrader.com and just get started. And we're going to use the free version. Those that have Windows as the free version, you can see, you sign up, you can sign up, or you can go to, in this case, you can go in, you log in with your username. I already have a username, so I just log in, and I'm using DRS Rush. I log in, and in this case, Daniel, I'd like you to look here, and where it says not ready for live trading, start a risk-free trial of simulation trading, and then you have additional options. Do you see that, Daniel?
Yes.
In the additional options, those of you that have a Windows operating system and don't have to use the remote access, you can download. You see here where it says download a desktop platform, because they also have a browser version, but the browser version isn't the same, and they have many releases. What we're using, Daniel, in the remote session, and we have in the lab, is version 80280.
Okay.
So if you wanted, Daniel, and anyone else that has Windows, if you wanted to, and you wanted to emulate and say, it's so much easier, I don't have to do the remote, it's probably even faster, you can download a version here. It's not much different between these others, but I like to use the same version as we use in class. So you can download an older version of 8.0.280. Rather than the recent one. There's not that much difference in their recent ones that they can have, but the version 8. Okay, Daniel, so it's another way in which you can do that, Daniel.
I'm
And
gonna try
other
that
people
now.
with Windows, you can let them know.
Okay.
And even what's interesting, even with that step recorder, you can, once you did the step recording, you would have all these different window screens there. Right? Or you could do a small recording to show them where it is, because it's a little bit hidden on how you get those downloads for those older versions. Questions, comments, put them in the chat if you do. Okay, so let's look at the groups here. And in the group, like my group 1 here. Well, let me go to yours first, Daniel. Your group 2.
Group 8.
We have then here group 8. We have the screencasting folder. Everybody, you should look to see if your screencasting folder has a folder. You have who's attended, what software program you used, and your screencasting folder. And you should have your individual recording talking about your individual recording. And this should be right, the template that I asked everybody to do. And why do you say, Daniel, you're going to redo this?
So we did not show through Zoom a recording of the software itself. Like I used OBS, Taylor used QuickTime, and we didn't show the actual recording of the software, but then it was kind of ambiguous in the assignment itself, but it would be better to redo it, I think.
Okay, then you have that option here. And everybody should be in the group recordings of what you show here, and also the operating systems as well. So the same thing that I would ask then, Taylor, you see that what I would do for yours, and I don't have to tell anyone else, if you look at this of that individual, is I would add the additional, right, Taylor? Taylor, you there?
Yep, I heard you.
Yeah, so just
That's
correct
just a
it now.
placeholder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So put those in the placeholder, put those in the screens of the individuals. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to extend the deadline. So if you could put that in, Dylan, that we could use Wednesday to meet again with your group, since we're not going to have formal class, and the screen casting, I'm going to extend it to next Monday. So if, for instance, in this case, and how long, for instance, in your case, Ashton, how long can, what is the time frame for Loom?
Wait, what do you mean by that? Like, how long is my video, or just like?
No, how long can you record in Loom?
Well, from what I found was that like the free non-educational, like this for anyone, it's only up to 5 minutes.
So you need to put that in, right? That's going to be important for somebody to choose, right?
I did in my video.
Yeah, but do it right here too.
Okay.
You understand? Because nobody's
Yeah.
gonna, most people aren't gonna read through your videos, right? And if you're looking for something, everybody here with Ashton is, if it's like time limited, put it the time limit. The free version, it's gonna give me 5 minutes. This one is how long as the other ones. So incorporate that. And then if it needs to be,
Maybe-
then go on. What else, Ashton? Do you have another comment?
Oh, no, I had a point. Maybe since
Okay.
in the last assignment, a lot of people didn't put the descriptions, like to reiterate. Put
Yes.
descriptions.
So what, so in which one? In the Zoom? Or
Yeah, in the
Loom?
Zoom.
Yeah,
Like
well.
even for the individual portion and for the group portion and for the folder, put, a lot of descriptions.
Okay, everywhere that you see that you've uploaded something, you should have a description. You understand that? Sophia, what group are you in, Sophia?
I'm in group 10.
Okay, so whatever it is, so in group 10, we have everybody in your group here, Sophia. And in group 10 here, if I go to, for instance, the Zoom collaboration, right? Here's the assignment. These are the lessons learned. Great. Here's Justin. Here he has basically the lessons learned. Here's your Sophia update. This is perfect, Sophia, right? Of update, although I was not able to do it, I used my team member's account who was able, blah, 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 right? That you're basically documenting each time your YouTube link, your Zoom, and then your based on Adam, right? That you have in here. And then if I go back to group 10 and go to screencasting exercise, right? the same thing you need to do here, Sophia, right? Go back and do what? When you look at it right away, you know. Right,
Yeah, I'll add
Sophia?
a description and the pros and cons.
Go through the template. Go look even in Dylan's, right? Dylan's in group 0. You can use that was whole purpose of Dylan's, right? Look in 0A of Dylan's and follow that. And make sure, Sophia, you're part of your group, that each of your group has that, right? Of what occurred. Of QuickTime Player, right? Of going through what did you show in the Zoom? Was that group casting? You have now an opportunity, and the same thing with check with your neighbors too, right? Of your other group members and work together. It'll be a great time. Do you have time on Wednesday, next Wednesday, class time? Meet again with your group. Perfect time. Sophia, we did a great job in showing that, right? And you can correct yourself, right? The next time. Anything else, Daniel, what we were talking about before that I need to mention?
I think that's all.
That's all. So in this case, Liat, right? If you were in group 1, right? So it's the same things. We got that part of the and then individual recordings here, you divided it up nicely where we have the individual recordings, and already this is nice that you've gotten that part in the individual recordings. You see that excellent. You can go back and see, did we do a good enough job in our group recording, because we're getting some extra time that we shared our screen and showed what it was. And what's the purpose, Liat, of doing these screencasting? Is a lot of times Zoom doesn't capture itself, right, on those control bars, remember? And there's other areas to that to be able to do that. Questions? Okay, so let me go to our regular
I think
one.
one
What?
more thing.
Yeah,
In the group Zoom recordings for the first project, if you
Yeah.
join the group on Zoom but you don't talk, it doesn't show that you're actually in the meeting. So everyone should talk in the meeting. I feel like that's
Yeah.
kind of, you know,
good idea, right? You're just not there for appearances, right?
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you're getting graded as your participation. And even if you have questions, so you may want to go back and say, hey, we want to redo some of these. Or if you weren't in the screencasting, if you didn't make it, check with your group and say, hey, for Wednesday, let's do a better recording, and I'll be in it. Anything else, Daniel?
No, that's all.
Okay, perfect. So the next thing, if I want, is let's go to what's due. In the what's due section, I have then I'll look at it, and then Daniel, you can add to it for February 19th. You can edit this and add that we've extended the deadline, right, for the screencasting. And for next Monday, we're going to have chapter 5, which is the data assignment.
I can't change the date on those.
No, but
Dylan can.
Dylan, that's what I
Yes.
told.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
can.
say
I
Dan.
put an
Did I say
announcement
Dan?
too for
Right.
Yeah, you did.
And in this case here, chapter 5, plus what I'd like you to do for Monday is to read these 2 articles on basic algorithms, trading concepts and examples. And this next one on basic algorithmic trading. And what I'd like you to consider in these articles is what is automated trading systems and what are the pros and cons, and be ready to discuss that for Monday. So let me make sure our links are available. So I'm going to go to Wiley Plus. And I'm going to edit. I'm going to permit the user to visit the content. I'll track the views. I'll submit. And I'll go to chapter 5. Notice we'll talk about managing data. How do we get, what's a database approach? What's a data warehouse? What's knowledge management? You have some videos if you'd like to see them. And under your chapter, data adaptive assignment, I have to open the assignment. There should be nobody taking it. I know because it wasn't open, right? And I need to make a due date. And under edit assignment, I know that it's a practice. I'm going to go to the next step. I know it's chapter 5. And set a due date and assign it to the entire class, not just to Whitney. Go to next and have the due date then on the 19th before the class. Before the class, right? 3:30, available, save. And I want to save here. And it saved it. And you should be able then, Sophia, to do what? To go see that if it's available, right? And you'll let me know that it's available. And I need to do the same thing. It's Wiley Plus. I have to go to assignments and quizzes. And I need to go to my quiz chapter 5. I want to edit the test options, make sure everything is clear, right? When I open it, I don't want to force completion. I want to make it right on the 24th and make it the 2nd and the 19th, right? And at 3:30, and I want to submit. And Alex, do you see it? Alex Creighton, do you see it? Available? The quizzes for 5. Yes, no?
I'm checking.
Good. Item not hidden. Item is hidden. So why is item hidden? Edit. Make
It's
available.
not there right now.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Try again. That's why we want to check each time, right? You see it? You got it?
Yeah, I can see it now.
Yeah, perfect. Why do we need to check, and recheck, right? All of a sudden, I think I forget to save it. My little fingers don't do the walking, right? Okay, we have this. The other thing on PowerPoints and documents, then, you have 2 PowerPoints. If you go to the PowerPoints, Alex Creighton, if you go to the PowerPoint 9th edition, I know that it's going to be on the data management that I want to download. And I also want to download this slide set, which is called Algorithmic Trading Systems, Russianek as well. And in this case, we need to know, along with our readings, what is an algorithm, what is automated trading, what are the pros and cons. So I know that I want to download this as well. So if I go to my downloads, right, I should see 2. I should see the Russianek of this, and I should see the chapter 5. So this can help you in terms of, this is part of the book in terms of data that you'll be thinking about. And basically, this is the crux of AI. This is the crux of everything that we're going to be doing, is the idea of what is data and what is knowledge, how are we going to use it, and what the challenges is in terms of managing our data and using what we call data governance. So the key is, Alex Creighton, is what the heck is data governance and who cares and why? You know what data is, right? You've heard of that, right, Alex?
Yeah.
Yes. So the idea, if I'm going to look at data, when I'm thinking about what is data governance, and here's my Google Cloud here, is it says that data governance means setting internal standards, data policies that apply to how data is gathered, how it's stored, how it's processed, how it's disposed of. So let's think about it, Alex. Who in the university has any data about you? Is there anybody in the university that has any data about you?
Yeah.
Let's start with myself. I have data about you, right? I have data about what is your user ID. I have data about your first and last name. Those are all what we talked about is the fields in the database. Remember how we talked about it before? We talked about almost an Excel spreadsheet, that every row is called a record and every column is a field. I have, and if I looked at a spreadsheet of all my students for tests, I could have even like the grade center, test 1, test 2, right? Homework 1, homework 2. I have data about you. Who else has data about you in the university besides Dr. Rush?
Maybe like the financial department.
Financial, for financial loans, you mean? How much you owe the university? Is that what you're
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah. Like,
Right,
yeah,
right.
paying tuition.
Basically, right. The financial department. Who else? That's
I
it?
guess your other teachers too. Not just
Okay,
you.
all your other professors, right? The professors that have had you, right? Who else?
Um,
Do you live in
guess
the
if-
dorms?
no, I live in an apartment, but if you were staying in dorms, like,
If
I
you were in
guess-
housing, right? Did you ever
Yeah.
live on campus?
no, because I transferred here, so
You
I was
transferred, so
always,
you never had that. But do they have your address? Do they have your
Uh,
grades from your other institution?
yeah,
They have a registrar. Does it have data about you, right? The
yeah.
financial, right? The
Mhm.
health center, does it have information, data about you,
Yep.
right? Basically, the library, basically, if you're in the wellness center, all these types of people. The school of are you in the school of business?
Yeah.
What's your major?
Finance.
Finance department has information about you, right? The school of business has information. Are you an undergraduate? The undergraduate office has information about you. And
Yeah.
think about it, all that data. And a lot of times what you want to do when we think about all the data that we have is, how do you manage all that? Is there redundancy in that? You know, every time I say then, basically Alex Creighton, right? And all you think there's only one place that has Alex Creighton. There's many places that have it. So it's basically, we're going to be talking about, and we're going to be dealing with, how do you even manage that data? Is it duplicate? Let's say, Alex, you ended up moving. Who do you have to tell at the university that you moved? Is there one department? Is there 10 departments? You can
Probably
imagine
multiple
if you
departments.
moved once and you, let's say, told the finance department, but you didn't tell the registrar. Do you have to tell the registrar somebody needed? Is there duplication? Yes. What's going to be the problem? The problem with duplication is one person has your old address and the other department has your new address. Could there be mistakes? Yes. So the whole idea is that database approach, that we're going to try to put our data possibly in a place where we could share the data. There could be demographic data about you that is in one place, and when you change your address, it only changes one place. Doesn't that make more efficient issues? But if it's not changed, then there's something called big data, that I have large, huge amounts of data. And where can you get those huge amounts of data? Like in the stock market. Have you ever traded at all, Alex? Have you ever bought any stocks or
Yeah.
invested in crypto? What have
Hmm.
you traded?
Right now I'm in money market accounts.
Okay, money markets. But what else have you traded? Have you ever bought a stock? Have you
Yeah.
ever? Good.
Yeah, I've bought some like
Okay, so you
Disney.
bought some,
Yeah.
right? And I traded. And basically, how often can you buy it? You could do like high frequency trading, right? When you blink your eyes, you could trade it. Or you can say, you know what, I'm going to buy something and I'll sell it in a year from now, or I'll do it on the end of day. But all that is basically big data. And how are you going to basically be a strategy to let the computer basically buy and sell? That's what we're going to look at in this class. Do you understand that, Alex? And try to kind of figure out how, and later on add artificial intelligence, which you've heard about before, and let the computer start learning and improving. And then we have something called a data warehouse, is areas in which it's not transactional, but I have data about students. Let's say you were admissions. I'm going to put my non-transactional, my data about my students, I'm going to put it in a warehouse, like a place to store it. Maybe we're going to see who really is the most successful students, right? What are the characteristics that students that get the best jobs? Or what are the characteristics of the students that really will recommend their friends to come here and really just flourish at this university? And who are the students? What are the characteristics that this institution doesn't fit for? Right? We can kind of sense that, can't you, Alex? Of basically, where did you transfer from?
Elon University.
Okay. And what's the difference between this institution and the other is about transfer students. We could even do a data mart. We could do a data mart about transfer students. Which transfer students will succeed the best? So these are data mart. And then we'll talk about when somebody has knowledge, how do we manage that knowledge of our end users? And then how are we going to manage the knowledge of our to teach computers how to get it? So this is the chapter. You'll be reading through this, and basically the whole idea is the difficulties of managing data. And when there's a difficulty there, we're getting it from all those sources. This is the key. So data governance means who's going to take care of the data, let's say in the institution. What data are we going to store? And who's going to update that data? Who is going to be the one when the address changes? Who's going to be in control that knows that that data has to be updated, that you have to have the right address? One of the things that you can do is you can have grade changes. Have you ever heard of that, Alex? That if you get a grade, there may be a way in which you got an incomplete or something and the instructor needs to change the grade. Or the instructor made a mistake. Who's going to control that? Can everybody just change? Alex, you think everybody's going to be able to change your grade? Of course not. Just like we have the audit area. Do you think we should make the system where you can change your grades any way you want? Of course not. Just like me, I would love to change my salary. I think I'm underpaid. They should pay me 20 times more, right? They don't allow me to change my own salary. They don't allow you to change your own grade. So the idea is this data governance is key. And later on, this data governance is going to be, there's going to be something, Daniel, called AI data governance. What do you think that's going to be?
AI going through the data and making predictions and showing charts and everything.
Right. And there's also going to be AI governance of companies saying, what do we want our AI to do?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be cuckoo, right? It's going to be really, everybody's scared about it, right? It's going to make decisions and it could be making wrong decisions, or it's not going to take into account what? Ethics or security, right? We always
and
talk
it'll
about that.
probably
Dan.
get rid
What?
of a lot of jobs.
Pardon?
It'll get rid of a lot of jobs too.
Let's see. Remember I asked you guys every week, read the Wall Street Journal and New York Times? Let's see. If I go to the Wall Street Journal, we got like, look at this one. I'm going to read the title,
Wow.
Daniel.
Wow. I had no idea.
AI, did you see this, Alec? AI, everybody see this? Go to the Wall Street Journal, right? I asked you to subscribe. You all get free subscription to this, but look at this. And this, it's so telling, right? It's in the front page. AI is starting to threaten, not lower blue collar, threaten white collar jobs. And basically, look at the seat. Isn't that a great part? And basically say here that we've always talked about it. The list of white collar layoffs is growing. Job cuts at Google, UPS, generative AI could soon upend a bigger, much bigger share of white collar jobs, including middle and high level managers. Unlike previous waves, generative AI doesn't just speed up routine tasks or make predictions by recognizing pattern. It has the power to create content, synthesize ideas. In essence, the kind of knowledge work millions of people now do behind computers. So my contention is, if we don't know how to work with generative AI, and we're going to have some basically exercises on that. Do you see that, Melnick? That in this case, a lot of these, all these data analysts and all these types of things, the computer, it's going to take a while. What now, I've spoken to Citibank this weekend, and one of the problems is they say, we don't even know how to handle training all our employees to use generative AI. Because what's the key to generative AI? Isn't just automating something and recognizing power, but basically creating content and ideas. And then what we as humans will do is try to be the creative side. So this is an issue. And you see here, this is Sam Altman from OpenAI. But basically this article, you can read through this. Some of the job cuts taken place already are in direct results of changes coming from AI. Other companies are cutting jobs to spend more money on the promise of AI under the pressure to operate more efficiently. So the jobs are going to be different. And some of that whole slew, future down, right? They're going to be able to do that. Isn't it funny that we were just talking about that? So this is the key of that data governance. I see, Daniel, is there's going to be an AI governance. Which projects are we going to use AI on? Where is it going to be created that we can do some of those hallucinations or those fabrications?
Yeah. Well, wouldn't that be the role of like almost moderators for AI?
Yeah. But there's going to be new jobs doing this.
Yeah.
You understand? Just as there was kind of like the data governance, a lot of some of that data governance, even the computer can do, but it's the idea of how fast do we want to go? And a lot of these companies are afraid, I don't know what even it can do. And there's some point of it, Daniel, saying maybe it's going to be taking away my job. So you got on the bandwagon of it, of to be able to do this. So the same way, Alex, what we're talking about in the database approach is the database management. You're going to need to know this for the test. We're having a test already next month. Can you imagine? To minimize, the whole purpose of a data management approach is minimize what? The three main problems. So if I look at it, Alex Creighton, data redundancy, and I ask you, give me an example of data redundancy, it could be your address, right? That if your address was 20 different times, we're going to reduce it. Data isolation, it may be, in this case, Autumn, I need to find, what is your major, Autumn?
Marketing and finance.
I need, somebody comes to me and there's a scholarship for a female in marketing and finance. I have no idea. In my in my data, maybe I don't even know that because the data is so isolated, right? So in this case, I want a data management that has all that. You are in marketing, you are in you are female. They're looking for women to promote women more because they've always been in marketing, but they've shied away from finance, right? It's kind of like the way, if you look at the top executive board in financial companies, they're more men than women. And if you look in marketing in their departments, there are more women than there are in finance. So they want to do that. So that data isolation and data inconsistency. So Autumn, where could be data inconsistency? In one part of the database could have your old address, and another one it has your new address. So this is the idea, to minimize it. And the other way is I want, for data management, these are things that I want to maximize. Data security, because guess what? If I store everything in one place, what happens? I get hacked in one place, I lose my data. If we're the health center or we're the hospital at the university, Autumn, what happens, right? Gets hacked. I don't even know who my patients are. I don't know what surgery you're going to need. I don't know, maybe I'll have to, you're supposed to be on the left hand, and I don't even know the surgery's supposed to be on the left hand. Can you imagine being hacked? All your data? How data integrity, Autumn, means just like the person integrity, that I can rely on it, that I think it's trustworthy. It could have your GPA, but I said, I don't even know if that's right. Is that up to date? Is it from this semester, from last semester? And data independence. So these are areas in which you need to talk about. And on Monday, what we'll do is we'll talk about it. So I'm giving you a little bit longer assignment too, since you're working. So we'll work on it Monday, where you'll need then to read those articles too on taking that data and thinking about using it for algorithmic trading. And we'll go over that on next Monday. Questions? So let me go back to we'll take attendance, of course. Let me go back. So if you want on Wednesday, if you have the time, you can join me when I'm doing my presentation. I'm going to be doing it on AI and the metaverse. And they have an expo too on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I'll try to record as much as I can for you and share it. That's my pleasure that I have to use. When I learn something, I share it with you. And then we need to see with what's due. If I look at February 14th, February 19th, due February 14th, we've extended it, right? Dylan, are you there?
Yeah, I changed that to the 14th.
I think
Well,
it's for Monday.
Monday, Dylan, not Wednesday, right?
Yeah, the 19th.
Oh, screen testing to the 19th?
It was due
Today.
today, but I'm extending it for another week.
Okay, I got you.
Got me? Because we don't have formal class on the 14th, so might as well give people some time. They can meet with their group and redo. So
And then is the trading also due on the 19th, or is that due
which trading? These
the
articles, just the articles.
yeah, oh, just the articles, okay.
The articles. And then we'll go over the next week, we'll go over how to do, you know what I mean? But we'll first go into, you need to read then these articles. Questions? Sophia, do you have any comments from the gallery?
No.
Okay, so let's do attendance. So what, before I go, Sophia, so why don't we summarize what's happening? What's happening on the 14th? Wednesday.
we have no class and we should meet
Right.
with our groups
Right,
to
so why don't
do
you
the
put
same
that in then, Dylan? That'll be better, do Wednesday, put that in. Change that and put it then on Wednesday, the 14th, meet with your groups to improve any of the work that you've turned in.
Okay.
And then there's no formal class.
I made an announcement about
Yeah,
that. if
make
you
an
want to do that.
announcement too, right? And Sophia, you can let it, if everybody in your groups, you can let everybody know, right? Where everybody's there and they say, where is everybody, right? Okay, so let's do attendance. Let's do check-in. So interesting, huh, Daniel? Did you see right there when you think about AI that they're already putting that in?
Yep.
What it's going to be. So really you almost have to reformat thinking about the job that maybe you'll have because we have low unemployment, right? But those jobs will be
Well, I mean, a lot of people have 2 jobs, you know.
yeah, but it's also where the jobs are going to be in you want to be not where necessarily being in school where necessarily the jobs are today, but where they're going to be in a couple of years, right? And where can I grow with it and where it's going to be interesting.
Mhm.
That's how you want to view it. You know what I mean? Look in the front view, in the front, in that forecasting. Okay. So we got it. So stay with me if you have questions. Otherwise, I'll see you next Monday and meet with your groups and get that done completely because it will be graded, all your work. So might as well for Monday have the best that you can. Okay, so I think so I don't know if Whitney's here or not. And Bodie, do you have a question? Or are you just kind of hanging out? Whitney, do you have a question?
No, I didn't realize attendance was happening. Sorry.
It's a good idea. That's what's
Yeah.
hard online, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you see everybody
nice
around you.
day.
You know what I mean? You see the people all in the class around you. Say, "Oh, I guess they're leaving."
I know.
But here,
Have a nice
you
day,
can be in
thank
your own
you.
world and daydream. It's so easy,
Yeah.
Oh wow, there's a time. My class was so great. Time went by so quickly. It was so fabulous.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay, you too.
Thank you.
Okay, let me stop recording. So let me stop sharing. Let me stop recording.